All right, we put together a list with ChatGPT's help about the risk associated with subject to and seller finance. Let's go through them and see if any of them are legit or not. Number one, due on sale clause. Absolutely legit. We're gonna get into that in a minute. Existing loan terms. The buyer is bound by the existing loan terms, interest rate, and repayment terms. That's exactly what I want in subject to. I want the loan terms. That is why I'm buying the house in subject to. I wouldn't buy the house subject to if the loan terms were not favorable. ChatGPT is wrong. Number three, mortgage rate adjustments. If the existing mortgage rate has an adjustable rate, that is a big deal. You should never have more than one adjustable rate mortgage in a portfolio of 20 houses. So that's a big one. Let's put that on here. Adjustable rate. You are not being forced to buy a house subject to. You, as the buyer, make the determination whether you sign the contract and you follow through with the contract at the end. This is not a risk that you wouldn't know about going into it. So I tell people, if you're gonna do adjustable interest rates, do 1 out of 20 houses in your portfolio maximum. If that rate does go up, the other 19 houses in your portfolio will not. Therefore, the cash flow from the other 19 houses will far exceed however much money the interest rate went up on your one adjustable rate house. Number four, seller default. If the seller has not been making timely mortgage payments, the property may be risk of foreclosure. The seller defaulting is a problem. However, it's not a seller problem, it's a buyer problem. If you have not gone through and joined the Subto community, you're not gonna understand how the seller should never be involved in that transaction ever again. If you have a seller defaulting on the mortgage that you took over, that's because you failed to do it properly. You do not make payments to the seller. If you buy the house from the seller, you do not make the mortgage payments to the seller and then hope the seller makes the mortgage payments to the mortgage. That is not how subject to is done. ChatGPT obviously has not joined the Subto community. The seller should never default because you own the property and you are making mortgage payments through a servicing company, and the servicing company makes sure all of those things are taken care of. Insurance complications, nope, not at all. Property tax lien, that deals with traditional real estate. Uncooperative seller, okay, that goes into what if the seller changes their mind? What if I buy a house, like the house I'm standing in right now, and the seller decides a year later,
man, I'm really not happy that I sold that house to you, and I really want the house back.
Good thing that this is all legally done through title and escrow companies, and it's recorded at the county recorder's office, and it's a good thing that these types of transactions have been around for over 500 years. The seller cannot change their mind, and guess who owns the property? I do. Legal challenges. Subject to deals can be legally complex and may face scrutiny or challenges from lender or other parties. That would be due on sale clause, so that's redundant. Maintenance, okay, that's traditional real estate. Equity loss, traditional real estate. Credit impact, okay, there's a risk for the seller here. This is great. Seller risk. Seller has a credit risk. That is specific to subject to. Difficulty selling. You shouldn't be buying the property if you can't sell it, and we'll go through that in just a minute. Incomplete transfer. The buyer may not have full legal ownership rights. Guys, if you just go through creative, title, and escrow, you never have to worry about subject to and seller finance transactions being done incorrectly. Title insurance issues. Same thing. Go to creative, title, and escrow. They will take care of you. Lender's consent. This is right here. It just keeps hammering the same points. Due on sale clause. Homeowners association. That has to do with traditional real estate. Property conditions. Traditional real estate. Legal and regulatory changes. Regular traditional real estate. So far, 6 items that would be specific to seller finance and subject to. So let's go through that. Due on sale clause. Guys, we have 7 videos all about due on sale clause. I've never met a single person, and you have never met a single person either, that has ever lost a home to the due on sale clause. It does not happen. We've done thousands of these transactions. We've had a total of about 10 called. That's including 5 for myself and 5 for my students out of thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions. Adjustable rate mortgages. If you are buying a subject to deal with an adjustable rate, you should have known that that is a possibility for that rate to go up. You also should know that you should never buy more than 1 out of every 20 subject to deals that you do. This is something I teach inside the Subto community. The seller defaulting. This is impossible if you know what you're doing. A lot of people just watch my YouTube channel. They don't go hire a top tier TC. A top tier TC is somebody who handles the paperwork and makes sure that the transaction is structured properly. And they do make their payments to the seller, hoping the seller goes to the bank and makes those payments. The way that we've perfected creative finance, we do not involve the seller ever again. After we close escrow on a subject to, seller finance, lease option, wrap, or any other type of transaction, we pretend as if the seller is dead. I no longer want to involve the seller in anything, a refinance, a sell of the property. The seller is never involved ever ever again if you do it the right way. Seller's credit. So this is a big deal. There are so many sellers, I've bought their home in foreclosure, a house that's in foreclosure. I go to the seller directly. They're already $30,000 behind on their payments. Do you think they care about their credit? They absolutely don't care about their credit, or else they would have made the payments on their house. I, utilizing Subject to, actually improve their credit because I catch the mortgage payments up and I now start making the mortgage payments again, effectively putting that mortgage in a good standing situation. In 2 years, 3 years, they can go buy another house even though that mortgage stays in their name. I have fixed their credit using Subject to. Seller changes their mind. Physically impossible. The seller cannot come back and take the property back from you in a Subject to, a seller finance, a lease option. It's physically and illegal for them to do that. What happens if the buyer does default? Do I have the ability to take the property back? The answer is yes, you do, and this is one of the things that we perfected in creative finance. Creative finance has been done for hundreds of years, but it wasn't until me and my team came along that we perfected the process. How does a seller get their house back in the event of a default? How does the seller's credit actually improve? How do we remove the seller from the transaction after I buy it Subject to or seller finance that I no longer need their help? There's hundreds of little micro things that we've fixed in the process along with creative finance. So at the end of the day, there really are not that many risks. This is a non-issue. Can't sell that deal, that's a non-issue. Adjust rate your mortgage, non-issue. Seller defaulting, non-issue. The two things that are true risks in a Subject to or seller finance deal, due on sale clause and the seller's credit. But we've addressed both of those today, and hopefully you understand that really traditional real estate has just as many risks associated with it as creative finance does. In fact, the way that creative finance is structured is I remove a lot of the risks associated with them the way that I structure my deals. So when I have the due on sale clause or the seller's credit, I have a way to protect the seller from either one of those two happening. Therefore, only having risks associated with creative finance that are also associated with traditional real estate. If you want more information as a seller thinking about selling your house Subject to or seller finance, we made a video dedicated just to you. That video has been so popular. I get a lot of sellers that DM me and say, thank you so much for this. Nobody's ever made a video specific to the seller telling us what to do and what to watch out for. So thank you so much, Pace. If you're one of those sellers, please make a comment down below and let us know that you're enjoying the channel so that we can help you do Subject to and seller finance transactions and be protected as well. If you are a buyer or an investor sitting there going, man, if I just understood the full breakdown A to Z, and if somebody would whiteboard it out, almost like annoyingly intense detail on a whiteboard, I would love that. Well, guess what? We made that video too. That video has like 250,000 views. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have other questions or maybe even other ideas of risks associated with creative finance that I didn't touch base on, please ask those questions down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.